because I haven't gone live yet. Okay, now tell me if it's echo. Hello, hello, Facebook family. So we are live for day 6 of our Get Booked and Busy. No echo.
Okay,
Yay!
that's good.
No echo. Yay! Oh my gosh, this may be a success. Listen, those prayers to the tech guys been working. So, welcome again. This is day 6 of our Get Booked and Busy series, and I am getting ready to interview the lovely Kay Monet. No echo, but you are really low. I'm low? Oh, Jesus. Okay. So, how is it now? How is it now? Am I okay now? Not from you. Not from me?
Is it mine?
I don't, I don't think so. Let's see. Hey, hey, Facebook family. How are you all doing? We're trying to get this tech keep going. Okay, we're trying to get this tech stuff set up. So let me go ahead and do my introduction for this lovely lady here because she is so booked and busy. She's in a whole nother state, okay? And so we have the lovely Kai, and Kai, she helps visionaries jumpstart their businesses via strategic business planning, formation, and general branding. Welcome, welcome, Kai. How are you doing on this lovely Wednesday?
Hello. I'm doing great. It's a great day. I'm in Atlanta.
It's
This is my first time in Atlanta.
this your
So,
first time in Atlanta?
yes.
It's a great day to be great. Now, my phone keeps. I have the what when it's the yellow bar. That's like the low mode. Like what is it called? Low battery
I'm
mode.
echoing.
Yes, Kai, you echo. Okay, turn your volume down on your phone.
Okay.
Yeah, just like halfway.
Okay, I turned it down.
Okay, so now, so to let us know if she's still echoing, you guys. Thank y'all so much. See, this is like a team effort thing. It's the team effort thing. So I'm super duper excited because Kai has been so booked and busy that she made the faith decision to step out and leave her full-time job. And so she is a serial entrepreneur. She has a clothing boutique. She has a screen printing company. She trades Forex, and her main bread and butter is her is her coaching business. So I want you to talk a little bit about your coaching business because this is where we're going to be kind of centering and honing in on your booked and busy questions and get all of the juicy backgrounds and details of what you literally had to do to scale your business so you can be in a position to literally leave your job because a lot of people are stuck in these 9 to 5s and they too would like to leave their job and they're just over it. So
Right.
tell us about your
Yes.
coaching business.
Yes. So I am actually a certified business coach. And so I took these courses and went through kind of these classes to become certified. And what I do is I focus on business formation, right? So what that is LLC formations. I kind of give you information on what is the LLC. Everybody says, "Oh, I need to do my LLC," but do you really know what it is? So I go through the process of explaining that, but I go through the other formations as well and help my clients decide what's the best entity for them to file.
Hmm.
So I do that. I also do general branding. So general branding is really your logos, your brand boards, your website. So just those general things that you will focus on when building your brand. So that's also something else that I do as well. I do virtual assistant work, and so I have an HR background. So I love data entry. So I want to give that to my clients. So that's what I offer. Um, and then that's really kind of just how I got started with everything. I have always been like a go-to person for business. I started a business very, very soon, right after I got out of high school before I went to college. And I did a lot of research. I took a lot of classes and I became knowledgeable in those areas. And from there, I decided I need to consult. Like people are always asking me these questions. It's time for me to make some money from it, right?
Yep, absolutely. So when it comes to, um, do you hear that? Okay. I hear somebody talking about wine in my That is hilarious. All right, so talk to us a little bit about the types of clients that you serve in your coaching business. So when I get down into the booking questions, we can have a good sense of the type of clients that you look to serve and that you currently serve.
Yeah, so really startups and aspiring entrepreneurs. So people who are looking to start a business, people who have an idea but don't know their next steps, and then people who've been in business for a little while and they kind of need to rebrand or they need to go back to the drawing board and figure out what am I doing wrong or what am I doing right that I kind of need to focus in on. Those are all the type of clients that I work with.
I love that. So when it comes to booking, let's talk a little bit about discovery calls, right? So do you have the type of business model where you require those freebie calls, freebie consults, or discovery calls before pitch them one of your paid service and move them down the client solution journey, or do you just go right to the paid packages and then get them like booked from there?
Yeah, so everybody that I work with has to go through an initial consultation. And it's a free initial consultation, but I use that to kind of screen my clients. And I ask strategic questions to get to know who they are, what their business is, what they're looking for out of me, and then how we can work together, or if we're a good fit to even work together. Because sometimes you and your clients just, or you and potential clients aren't good fits for each other. So I use that as my screening, as my interview process, I'll say, to get to know people. But that is the freebie that I have, and everybody must go through it. It doesn't matter what service you're booking. We have to talk first.
I love that. Now you talked about that pre-qualification piece. So let's dive into what does that process look like when you do come across somebody that gets on that completes a form and you kind of assess the form and saying, I don't know if this is
Yeah.
going to be a good fit. Talk to us a little bit about making that decision if they do not get on your booking calendar.
Yeah. So
I love
honestly,
this one.
I'm completely transparent and I tell people we are not a good fit, but I can refer you to this person,
Hmm.
or I can refer you to somebody else who you may be a good fit with, but I'm not sure we'll be able to have a successful working partnership. And
I
I have
love
to be
that.
honest with people because otherwise, you don't want people to one. I don't want to be rude, but people have to understand that I'm human, they're human. If we don't mesh, that just is what it is. If I don't feel like I can serve you, it is what it is. Like there's other people that I can refer you to that may be able to do a better job for you than I can, and I'll tell you that right away. Like I don't think that I can work well
I love
doing this.
that. That was actually my response yesterday. I was just like, everybody doesn't have that type of um, honest and tough skin personality. So sometimes like they'll kind of skirt around it in an email or they just ghost them and not even follow up after they complete the form. And I was like, I would just tell them like this isn't going to work. However, I do know someone who will be a great fit. So what are some things that you see on the form that helps that becomes an indicator for you, this isn't a good person to move forward with, or this is a good person to move forward with and, take an actual call with them?
Yeah. So one question that I ask is, what problem or what steps have you taken to solve this problem? So I ask them what's their pain points basically, and then the next question is, what steps have they taken to solve it prior to meeting with me? Because if the answer is nothing, if the answer is I don't know how successful we'll be working together because I'm not sure if you have the mindset to do the research that I'm going to need you to do. Because it's not that I'm going to do everything for you and you just sit there and that's it.
And
Like,
and give you nothing. Like you have
yeah,
to. It's hard to work with clients who you have to pull the information out of them. I feel like if they're paying whatever they're paying, they should be willing, like vomiting,
hmm,
as much information as they can so they can get the help that they need versus sitting there like a dentist with pliers, pulling teeth, trying to pull information out. I'm like, why make it so hard, right? Like, why
Right.
make it so much harder? I love that. So we're gonna go right into um, some strategies or things that you've done to actually get people booked on your calendar. So we have all of these platforms. We got LinkedIn, we got not network marketing. We have word of mouth. We have social media. We have friends and family. We have client referrals, right? Just to name a few. What are some different things that you do in terms of strategy to get people to get prospects on your calendar?
Yeah. So one, Instagram. I make a lot of money from Instagram,
Come
honestly.
on
A
now,
lot of my clients find me on Instagram.
talk
And so when
about it.
people say, you post a lot or you post, like I post 3 to 5 times a day. And why? Because I'm making a lot of money by posting 3 to 5 times a day. So
Talk
it
about
doesn't
it.
matter what someone who isn't in my business thinks about how much I post because it's making me money. So Instagram for sure, I use that a lot to my advantage. And then I do a little bit of email marketing. I can do more. Most definitely, I can do more email marketing. I'll say that. But I get a lot of referrals as well. I'll say once I work with a client, they always send somebody else to me after I'm done. Small echo. Uh-oh. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better.
Okay.
Um, but they always send somebody to me. And
Hmm.
I love that. So really referrals, Instagram, Facebook is good too. The thing with Facebook is that I have a lot of family on Facebook. So it's not really the platform for me to do a lot of marketing on. But
Hmm.
I do get here and there. I like to go on Facebook for to laugh and have fun. So the things that I post on Instagram, I may not post the same things on Facebook. It's a little more fun. It's a little more joyful.
Yeah.
But that's my Facebook family over there too. So it works for them. I get clients from there as well because they like to laugh and have fun over there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Same. The things I post on Facebook, I wouldn't post on Instagram. Um, and it's funny because people who follow me, my screen keep going black. I got to figure out because I have it on like that low mode battery.
yeah.
So that thing is set like every however many seconds. The screen goes black, and I'm scared to go into my settings and change it while we're
Why
live
it's on
because
a live?
I don't want nothing to go out. But it's funny because people who follow me both on Instagram and Facebook, I get a lot of traction in my stories. Mainly because one of my strategies, no idea why. Kay, you have small echoes, sis.
Let me try to
Oh,
put my other headphone on.
oh, okay. We can try it now.
Is
Yes.
that better?
So I know it's better on my side. It sounds more isolated. So hopefully,
Okay.
the Instagram family don't hear echo, but I could definitely hear the switch when you put the second one in.
Okay.
So I know like part of my strategy on Instagram is I have I'm very personable. I run it up, run it up in the
Yeah.
stories, right? I'm very personable, right? And so one thing that I really pride myself on is building strong relationships. And the one way that I do that is sliding in people's DMs. I've been doing it for like the past 6 years. And it's funny that people are like now teaching this as an actual class. And so the reason why I love stories so much is because when people reply to your story, it goes directly to your DM. So
Hmm.
there is no strange icebreaker thing that you have to do to kind of start a conversation because it already kicked off when they replied to your DM. And I'm so faithful over there in my IG stories. The things that I post on Instagram today, it may not even make it to my Facebook until the next day because it's like a delayed reaction because they be popping on Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram is popping.
Instagram is a money machine. Okay.
That's why I'm so mad because the platform that I used to stream on, it's called StreamYard, and they don't have the licensing to stream with Instagram, and it's hard for Instagram like to release the key. It's like this the streaming key that they have to release, and I guess they don't have the license or permission or whatever. So we try this dual phone laptop situation so we can really share this out with both of our platforms. But let's get back into this though. So I know my number, and I'll tell my number after you tell your number. How many times did you have to fine tune your discovery form before you actually got it good?
I'm still fine tuning it. It's been a lot. I'm probably on maybe my sixth time, seventh time. Every time I get with a new client, I'm like, I need to put that in my form because we could have talked about that, addressed that in a form first, and then talked about it on the call.
Well, that's really good. So your number is 6 and my number is 8.
Okay.
So you right on track. It's like when I'm like, okay, I wasted a lot of time with this. What could I add in my form on the front end that can cut some of this talk time down, and I could just make a quick decision from there. And a lot of it was wrapped around their problem and if they could afford my services.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that, um, just trying to fine tune. It was like, what can I, what, how much can I pull out of them on the front end with the form, where I can get a good feel for what their problem or problems are, and then add it there. And then no one, everyone knows that business is centered around money, but no one likes to talk about money. But
Mhm.
everybody knows that it takes money if you want to work with somebody and get them to help you. So I'm like, okay, I need to get them more comfortable with having a conversation around money, because I don't want to go through this whole spiel of how I can help you and you cannot afford my services, right?
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? So I think I'm finally got it to where it's kind of lock solid,
Yeah.
hopefully. All right. When it comes down to people are on your calendar. They've passed the discovery call. I mean, the discovery form, consult form situation, and you're like, okay, cool. Let's get booked on the calendar, and they don't show up.
Mm.
Let's talk about no shows. Can we talk about no shows?
Listen, I have had a fair share of no shows. And honestly, it bothers me. I'll say that. Let's be transparent. It bothers me because I prepare for these meetings and I take the time out to research the client. So when I ask them for their social media, I ask them for their website. I go and look at these things before I've even gotten paid.
Hmm.
So if somebody doesn't show, I just wasted my time. And one thing about it, I don't play with my time. And so
Can we
I don't
talk
like
about it?
that. I don't like that. I don't like that. No shows are, they're a hassle, and I know things do come up. So it's like, okay, I'm understanding everything isn't gonna always stick to the schedule. So obviously that's understanding. But even after sending a follow up email, and it's just like, okay, now what?
Hmm. Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't get my time back. How do I don't even get compensated for it because at this point you're not even a client.
Because it's free.
Yeah,
How you don't show up for the free one? And what is it about this you feel like I'm going to take you seriously on a paid process when you can't even show up for the free?
right. And that's where I'm like, I have in my contract that if you don't respond back to me in a decent amount of time for me to do my job, then we're gonna have to halt your project. So if you can't show up to us free,
My God.
how can I expect you to show up to us paid for me to do the job that you're looking for me to do? Because if I have questions or if I have something to follow up with you on and I can't get the information from you, that's putting me back in the projects that I have,
Hmm.
pushing you back in me working on your project. It's just all everything is just a tumble. Just
It's just a
it's,
snowball effect, right?
yeah.
It's just a snowball effect. So what do you do? So what do you do when they don't show up and then they say, "Oh my gosh, I missed our call," and then they want to book again? Like, do you have them, or do you consider having them book again?
I do. I believe in giving people second chances. Obviously, I believe in giving people third chances. That may be too many, but
That's too many, sis.
so I do give them another chance to rebook because maybe something came up, maybe they were sick. I don't know, but I would appreciate the communication to say, look, sis, I forgot. I was
Hmm.
busy. What? Just tell me something. Make
Hmm.
me feel like my time wasn't wasted. Something like. But then again, people don't owe you anything. So that's just that.
Yeah. I was sharing on another interview, and I was saying when a when a no call no show has this moment like, oh, I forgot our call, can I book again? I said yes, but it's $75 now.
Okay. Mm. Look, you see, I got my pen.
It's $75 now because you can only play with my time once. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like,
yeah,
and we have to train people how to treat us, and we have to train people to respect our time. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
how bad do you really, really want my services? Let's see.
Because if
And
you
if
want it
they
that bad,
decide,
you're gonna pay it.
because if you want that bad, you're gonna pay it, and that's just to see if we can even move forward,
Yeah,
right? And once I say, okay, I'm able to help you, and this is how much it's gonna be, and you say, okay, I would take that 75 off of that higher tier service, right?
yeah,
I
that's
love
good.
that. Okay, let's get down to scheduling.
Okay.
Okay, you have four businesses,
Yes.
right? It's only one of you. Okay, what are some things that you do to help you over not have your business schedules overlap?
Yeah. So one, I include work time into my schedule. So I block off time to say, okay, this is I'm working on whatever it is I want to work on. If I want to take a nap during that blocked off time, I'm gonna take a nap during that blocked off time. So whatever it is, I schedule those things. And that's how I kind of stay on a good path and stay on a good schedule because I do have a lot going on. So I make sure that I include time for notes after appointments or time to research before appointments so
Mhm.
that it's not like I'm rushing from one thing to the next. There we go. It's not like I'm rushing from one thing to the next. I'm able to use that time to get those things together. And then I also choose days that I know I'm gonna need to work on a business. So I'm kind of into a flow where with forex trading, I know when I want
Mhm.
to do some live trading with somebody. I know when I want to hop on a Zoom call, and I put those things on my schedule so those can't be blocked off. And then obviously my consultations are on my schedule, and I have my availability on my calendar, so people just can't go on there and book from whatever time they want to. I have a set schedule on when they're able to book those appointments as well. So once those are booked, then obviously that's blocked off and I'm able to fill in from there. So scheduling is really, really big for me. I'm really big on organization. So it took me a little bit to get there,
Mhm.
but I
Mhm.
feel like I'm at a good space now with that to kind of manage everything I have going on.
Establish something. Leah said, now you're about to pay me to see if we could truly establish something. Pay me,
Period.
okay? Because people who pay attention.
Absolutely. Oh, that's good. Hold
Catch it. People who pay attention, and people who pay more, they pay more attention.
on. Absolutely.
Because imagine if was just got the regular membership for $99, right? Or if you got the platinum membership for $3.99,
Yeah.
you paying a little bit more attention for that $400 a month, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So we talking about scheduling. We're talking about the different variables that we factor in to make sure that we don't overlap or double book or and have some self care time in there and stuff like that. Let's talk about buffer time because
Mhm.
this is one of the things I teach my clients when I build out online booking calendars, right? And so one of the things that I have to always remind them to take into consideration is their pre-work time and their post-wrap up time after they've had a call, right? Do you factor in buffer time in your calendar process?
Yes. So on my calendar, whenever somebody books, it automatically blocks off an extra 15 minutes before their meeting and 15 minutes after their meeting.
Hmm.
And that's my time to, like I said, I do look at people's websites. I look at their Instagram, the information that they give me so that I have some background history on them. So I used the time before that to establish that information. Then afterwards, I used it for getting a proposal together, going through what we talked about, finishing up my notes, and
Hmm.
kind of saving everything into like a prospect folder so that when I follow up with them and then eventually secure them as a client, I can refer back to our initial consultation
Oh
when they
no.
said like a few goals
Yeah.
that they had.
Hang on. My thing went
Okay.
off. I'll be
I was
back on
gonna say
Instagram in a second.
it's
There we go.
reloading. There we go. Let me just put my phone on the charger. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know how to turn the low bar thing off. Okay, so what's I getting ready to say? Um, somebody is I won't say their name just in case they don't want to be, but they want to know what scheduler do we use to book people on our calendar.
So I use Zoom, and I have it integrated with my Google Calendar. So everything is kind of all together in one. So they can use the calendar, go on there, book the time off in Zoom. You can put that buffer time into there for before and after the meetings. And then because I have my business hours set, only certain times can be booked. And then also the other calendar that I use a Wix scheduler
Okay.
that's integrated with my website. So all three of those work together at one time.
Okay.
Um, and kind of just push through the information. It sounds like a lot. I swear it sounds like a lot, but
But when everything is integrated, it's a beautiful thing, right? So
Mhm.
for me, um, both personal and business is on my Google Calendar.
Okay.
Now, I won't get into how many Google Calendars I have, okay? Because you stay out of my business, but just playing. So I do have one main Google Calendar that's just for business, that's just for business appointments. And from the Google Calendar, I've been using Acuity Scheduler for God years. It's got to be 6, 7 years now. I've been using Acuity, and then just recently, in the past few months, I've gotten acclimated to a client management system that's a little bit more robust, kind of like a 6-in-1 type of application. And so as I get over the learning curve of that, it's not really hard. I have my Acuity scheduler integrated with my client management system. It's called Dubsado. If anybody wants to kind of Google that and play around with that. And so when the clients book on my Acuity scheduler, they automatically, the contact information transfers over to my Dubsado. So once I get off that freebie call and I'm able to upsell them to a paid service, all their information is right in there. I click a button and then my automation workflow spits out everything in Dubsado. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Automation is the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. No, that's what I was getting to. I'm like, it sounds like a lot, but we talked about Dubsado, and so they get a lead capture form. From there, I have all of their information. So after our call, I don't have to ask them, okay, what's your email? What's your phone? I don't have to ask that information. I already have it. All I have to do is put together a custom proposal, if it's even custom, but tailored to them, and everything's already done,
Hmm.
taken care of.
I absolutely love that. When it comes to when it comes to the client fulfillment process, um, have you ever had to revise the availability of your scheduler once you realize I have too much time blocked off or I don't have enough time blocked off as you kind of start going through and doing the client fulfillment?
Yes, so I definitely have realized if I did not set aside enough time. And it's like I'm fighting against the clock. Like I got all of this left to do, and I have not enough time locked off on my calendar. And when that happens, I kind of just determine what's like the level of importance of the things that I have to get done, and I just use those to move things around and get more things done. So
Hmm.
I do that. When that happens, I've ran into that a few times, and I've just been like, okay, now I know I need more time. I need to block off more time for these specific items. So
Yeah. Yep, I love that. Let's get into policies and procedures. People don't even realize how easier they would be able to breathe if they just created policies and procedures and then actually stuck to them, right?
Hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about some things what are some things that you had to do in order to create and fine tune your policies and procedures?
Yeah, the biggest thing was letting my clients know my business hours, because I would find myself working all throughout the night. I would find myself working on vacations, like times where I said this is like me time. I would find myself responding and doing this and doing that. And I had to set that boundary and set that policy that these hours are the hours that I work. So if you was to go into Target and Target was closed because it's outside of their business hours, it just is what it is. So I had to set that boundary and definitely communicate that. So once I book a client and we get past the initial consultation and we get to our first call, I go through those policies and those procedures with them so that if
Hmm.
they have questions, they can ask me right then and there.
Terry wants to know on YouTube. So I'm streaming on two pages on Facebook, streaming on YouTube, and then also streaming on Instagram. So I know I have ADD, but I promise you, my eyes are all over the place because I just want to make sure I'm being attentive to all of these platforms. So Terry from YouTube wants to know, how did you determine how many questions should be on your form? That's a good question, Terry. Listen, who doing this
That
interview?
is
Me
a
or you?
really good
No, just
question.
playing. That's a good question. That's really a good question. Because when I started out with like
That is
five
a
at
good question.
first.
Yeah, that goes back to when you said how many times have I had to revise my form? Because originally I started off, I may have had only like, honestly, when I first was starting, I was only getting people's like contact information. I wasn't even screening them. So I,
Jesus.
yeah, so when I started to realize how much time my initial consultations were only supposed to be 15 minutes, when I realized I'm on this phone with this person for 40 minutes,
Chat.
no, ma'am,
Talk
no,
about
ma'am.
it.
So that's when I realized I need to get some more questions on my form, and then I would go from there. So I kind of just built it as I got more clientele and kind of went and rewatched those initial consultations that I did have to go through and say, okay, we discussed this. This is something that I should have included on the form. And that's how I built out the form to ask those questions that I felt like needed to be asked. So it was more so trial and error for me. I
Hmm.
started off really not asking much. And then after a 15-minute call was supposed to went all the way to 40 minutes, I'm like, no, we need to get some better questions and ask some things so that we don't have to go through all of this.
I love that.
That's how I did it.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, truly, you know, like I say, this is day six, so you are the sixth person that I've interviewed, and it's so it's so refreshing, right? It's so refreshing to know that I can have these same conversations with different entrepreneurs, and everybody has a different experience, right?
Mhm.
But the synopsis is we all went through trial by fire. It isn't like a cookie cutter way. Like there isn't a manual that says you
Mhm.
have to do it like this, you have to do it like that. Because maybe I don't have four other businesses that or three other businesses that I
Yeah.
need to take account for. You know, some of the interviewees didn't have children that also affects your calendar, right?
Mhm.
You know, or like I say, or having other appointment-based businesses that would affect your calendar, right? So it's just really refreshing to know that this question has been asked five different times, and not one answer has been the same, but everyone is in agreement that it's all been trial by fire. Right? It's
Yeah.
all been trial by fire. I love that. So let's get into we dug into some juicy stuff. Okay. Um, let's get into let's talk about rebooking clients. Okay.
Yeah.
What are some things that you do or have done to get rebooked from a previous booking? Hey y'all. Y'all coming in.
Yeah. So usually what ends up happening, honestly, most of the times while I'm working with the client, they ask. okay, once this project is over, how can I continue to work with you?
Mhm.
And from there, I let them know that I have ongoing services that I can provide for them, project management services that I can help them with. And I kind of use that as to get it into their ear. So as we're going on with the project, once we start to reach the end and start to do our offboarding, I can kind of tell them like, okay, as we discussed before, this is how I can continue to support you, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then at that point, we either go ahead and book for like retainer services, or they'll think about it, and I'll also include it again in a follow up email after I send them like their final files, or even just saying like, thank you for booking, things like that. I do include what I have available for them to still work with me after the project is over.
I love that. I love that. Um, Gosh, this is so good. Okay. I let every interviewee get an opportunity to ask me one question. If you had to
Yes.
ask me any question, personal or business, what question would you want to ask me?
So the question that I
First of all, it's like you had this question ready. Wait a minute, I don't need you to be ready like that. You was like, oh, I got a bunch of them. Let me pick one.
look, I'm going through my head like, okay, which one I want to ask. So the one that I really want to ask is when you start to discuss invoicing and pricing, how do you how do you lead them to that conversation to be comfortable to say, I can't afford that, or I can afford it, or how else is there any other ways that we're able to work together? How do
Yeah.
you get to that point with the client?
How do I say, can you afford my services?
Yeah.
It's on my form.
Okay.
Right. So on my form, so remember how we were going back a little bit ago, I was like, there's actually, it was three things that I had to really add to my form that cut out a lot of brain thinking, teeth pulling parts of the conversation. So it was definitely, what problems did they have? The second one was, were they able to afford my services? Of course, I didn't ask that, but I would pose the questions on my form where, depending on what they checked, I would kind of know, I would have a pretty good gauge as to, okay, and again, not to be judgmental, because like I tell people all the time, it's not my problem to figure out how people are going to pay me, but realistically, it gives me a good sense of what the money mindset struggle may be once I do tell them how much the service or package is going to be. And then the third one, that I had to put on there was their relationship status, because I attract a lot of moms. I attract a lot of serial entrepreneurs. I attract a lot of women who are in committed relationships. So whether it is, engagement or live-in or a spouse, and they have to have these tough money conversations
Hmm.
with their significant other, because this is a hefty debt that
Right.
they're taking out of their household. And doing a lot of my own self-assessment, I will always, kind of go back over my calls, and it was always, I gotta check with my husband, I gotta check with my man, I gotta check my baby daddy, I gotta check with
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh, let me just put this on the form. So when I did get to, fast forward to your question, when I did get to the money conversation, if depending on what their relationship status was, and if they had any financial weight or bearing to their decision making process for their business, let's get him or her on the call.
Okay,
So,
that's
so,
good.
so that was one way I X that off, right? So let's get down to the money part, right? So first, I sell them on the benefits of, okay, I've just spent all this time hearing what your problems are. And now I spend like 7 minutes or so telling them, these are the services that I have that can put the fires out for these problems. And this is why you need it. And then I have a fast lane, and then I have a slow lane, right? So I have like the package that's a little bit longer, right? Slow. And then I have a VIP intensive. And then I have a VIP intensive that's a done in a day service, fast, right?
Right.
So do you want your problem solved quickly or slow? Right? And then I give them the price. And so after they've realized, I put the ball back in their court in terms of time and speed. So remember what we talked about, the time and speed part earlier. I take the attention off of the money and I put it back on their problem and how long they want to sit in their problem.
Okay.
Right? So I let them tell me how long you want to sit in your problem. Do you want to sit for a day or do you want to sit for 2-3 months? Right?
That's good.
And so, because we have to, not only do we have to train people how to treat us, we also have to re-educate and help a lot of our clients unlearn their relationship with money. Because there's so many of us, myself included, we had a huge emotional attachment to money. So when we hear it, the first thing we go to is, I can't afford it. What bill am I not going to pay? So I can't afford it. And they start making these life altering decisions in a blink of an eye when I'm like, you're focused on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, did that answer your question? Because
Yeah, no,
we have a
that
few
answers
minutes. Like, you
it.
can ask me more if you, because
Yeah,
we've
okay.
gone through all the
Yeah.
questions. Like, this was so good. Like, yeah, we totally gone through all the questions that I had. So, you definitely can take full advantage. And if anybody have any questions down in the comments as well, feel free. If anybody has any questions in the audience, feel free to drop them in the comments because I'm good for like another 10 to 15 minutes. How long are you good for?
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
perfect. All right. What other questions did you want to ask me? And,
So,
and let me tell you something. No one else has had this privilege. So
well, listen, I'm glad that I'm quick with it because I got some questions.
you was quick with it, sis. You was quick with it.
Listen, I'm glad. So I want to go back to the status I made earlier about breaking down your pricing and not putting getting out of the employee mindset and trading time for money, because I know we discussed this during our first session and that stuck with me for a while, as you can see. And so that was something that was honestly, that was life changing for me, because it put me into a new mindset, because you get so comfortable working on the time clock that you don't realize that when you trade your time for money and you think about it in the long run, you don't feel the value in what you're doing or the value in what you're providing,
Hmm.
because it's just not seeming to be beneficial. When I think
Right.
about an hour of my time and I say, okay, my job is going to pay me $25 for this 1 hour, but then I think about all the things I can get done in that 1 hour,
Hmm.
I'm pissed off about it.
That's why
Um,
no shows pay what they pay.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I want to touch base on that because that was real good. Like I said, that stuck with me from our first session that we had a few months ago. So can you just touch base on trading time for money and breaking that down into a better mindset and how to get that mindset going?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So kind of like do a recap as to the way I went over with you. Okay.
Yep.
So we were raised to go to school, get good grades, get a scholarship, go to college, graduate from college, and land a job in at a great company or business, right? And work there until we're old and blue and crippled, and then we get pension. Okay. And because so when people take the leap and step out of the rat race of employment and say, I want to get into entrepreneurship, they only have the information and the discipline and the mindset that they've been taught and trained since they were children. And that is to submit, work for, seek validation from others, right? And everything is labeled by a number. So, right? So if you are an employee, you have an employee number. If you are an employee, you have a particular pay grade. That pay grade is going to dictate your salary and what your bonuses and benefits are. Or if you are hourly, um, you know, we go right to, okay, this amount of money times 40 or times by 2 for 2 weeks, then my check is gonna be X, Y, and Z, right? Like, and
Mhm.
then we like, okay, and then minus taxes, like we counting up our check. And we didn't punch the clock yet. It's like we just got hired and we already got the check. We know what store we going to spend the check. And so fast forward to that's how they've trained us to think, right? So if they've trained us to think in terms of we are only valued by our worth, and our value is only equivalent to the time that we put in, right? And that time is contingent on what they tell us our value is for our time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you mentioned that you have the HR background. I have the HR background as well. And I actually got this formula from being in HR, right?
Okay.
And so even in business, everything is ran off of a metrics, right? Everything is ran off of, in order for me to track the metrics or measurements of the behavior or the activity of a particular department, or how content is being reached, or how money, is like the margin and profit margins of money. Everything is based on the performance of something else. So with that being said, we have to, in order for us to move over and not say, I'm going to charge $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $250 an hour, we have to have a base formula of where that stems from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to lose anybody, so I'm trying to kind of go slow with this. So in the entrepreneur space, right, when we want to get out of that hourly rate for coaching, or packages or something like that, we want to move over to what's considered, and Google this. So you want to move over to what's considered value-based pricing versus hourly-based pricing. So we've been conditioned to formulate and calculate everything on an hourly basis, right? And so to move over where people will respect and value the output of what we do for them more, we have to now calculate value-based pricing. So value-based pricing is based off of like a work formula, right? So you would say, okay, in this industry that I'm in, okay, how much are people paying for this service? Not by the hour, just lump sum amount. How much are people paying for the service? Now, it's going to always be this scale, just like in if you were an employee, there's this range, like you and three other people can have the same pay grade, but three of y'all can be paid $12, $14, $17 based on longevity, seniority, X, Y, and Z. Right. So in entrepreneurship, there's this range of how much people are paying for the same exact service.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So once you figure out how much people are paying, you have to now put a minimum base rate to you how much your service is valued by the minutes, not by the hour, but by the minutes, because you work in minutes, you don't work in hours,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's just say, let me pull my calculator up here for a second. So let's
Okay.
just say, because my mind, I gotta see it, ADD. So, so let's just say you have helped enough people to where you can start charging $1,000 for a 90-minute session,
Mm-hmm.
right? So immediately you're going to go to, okay, I have to find the value base rate for that by the minute. So you take 1,000 and you divide it by 90 minutes. That's $11.11 a minute, right? So when you think about the no-shows and how much time you spend in the back office on putting forms together, revising forms, marketing, creating content, you look, how many minutes did I spend doing that? And then you would times that by your value base rate by the minute, 11.11. Man, I could have spent that booking a client and getting a bag for
Yeah.
$500.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are switching it over from, I'm not getting paid by the hour, I'm getting paid by my value. People are paying me $500 because I can produce very, very specific and intentional and heartfelt value for them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
when we are selling our services, we're selling the value and the transformation of the outcome that they're going to receive from booking with us.
Yeah.
Not you pay me $500 and then this hour we're going to do this and then this hour we're going to do, because we have to get them away from that money and get them over to the transformation.
Right.
Did that answer your question a little bit?
Yes, yes, that answered it. And I wanted everybody else watching to hear that too. Because like I said, that was something that you told me during our other session. And that was like life changing for me. And it was like a light switch. I'm like, wait, hold on.
And if I could just add to that, people pay more for speed, right? So remember, I just got here. You preaching, amen, Danny. Both of you are so beautiful and talented. I'm glad I tuned in. Well, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, that's Maddie. Hey, Maddie. You know I'm blind. I can't see. So I want to also, if I can add a part B to this. So now you've got your base layer, right, for your value-based pricing. Now, when you get into more like premium pricing, like higher ticket, like me, so I don't like to say it because I feel weird, but I guess I need to own it. So I offer premium high ticket services, right, that starts in the four-figure price range.
Mhm.
And when I am working with these particular type of clients, I have to, what's important for people to realize is they don't have a money issue. My clients have a time issue, right? They're paying me to put systems in place and automations and funnels and, and all of these things in the back end because they need to get more of their time. Sorry, I got a call coming in, y'all. I'm sorry, I had a call coming in. So they're paying me to help them get more of their time back. So the higher up you go into value-based services and higher premium pricing services, hi, how are you? Hey, oh, that's my niece. Hey, Mira. The different the problem is for the client. So when we're at the bottom, right, because it's crowded at the bottom. So when we're at the bottom, we're working with a lot of people that have a lack of abundance mindset. They have a struggle with money management. They have a struggle with emotional attachments to money. So a bulk of what we do in terms of trying to pitch our services and pitch our offers is all wrapped into helping them understand why they need our services. When you
Mhm.
start to offer higher pricing tier services, you don't have to convince them as much as why you need to swipe your card. It's more or less how soon do you need it so you can move on to the next thing in your life,
Yeah.
right? That's a whole different problem. And it's a good problem to have. Amen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. And I realized that too when we were talking about the form, and I realized something that I want to add to my form. Because I do ask how soon do they want to get started. And I have like, immediately, within a week, within 2 weeks. And so,
So, time out. Don't ask how soon do you want to get started. Ask them how long do you want to stay stuck in your situation.
okay, better wording.
See how that changes the heart posture of the sense of urgency?
Yes.
Because when you say how soon do you want to get started, they go right to, let me see, I get paid on Friday, but on this check is already accounted for. But then now I'm 2 weeks out to my next paycheck, which is actually 3 weeks out to my next paycheck. So I can get started in like the middle of next month, right?
Yeah.
Because they're attached to the money,
Okay.
and you have to get them attached to the problem. How long do you want to keep going to getting payday loans and sucking down your paycheck and then paying 200% on interest rates? Like, how long do you want to keep
Right.
doing that?
Right.
I got to stop doing it now. Okay. Like, I've literally had women who, no lie, I have it on video, has Ubered to pay me for my services. So this is where I say it's your job to just sell the value of what you have to offer. It is not your job to worry about how people are going to pay you. Because
Yeah.
once they realize this girl can help get me out of this, I am going to go find this money. I'm going
Yeah.
to go find it. Right? That's good. All right, we got
That's
2 more
really
minutes. Last question. And if y'all got questions, y'all chime in.
good. Let's
Okay,
see.
Danny's
Let me
like with
see
the
if somebody
gems.
from the comments got questions.
Oh gosh, I'm missing my people over here. Thank you. This is so helpful. You are so welcome. Thank you for tuning in.
Let's see.
Yeah, we got like 2 more minutes. So if you want to throw one last question on me.
I'm trying to think. Listen, I'm sitting here thinking about how I'm gonna revise my form.
So also another thing too that really helped me with my forms was I had them pick their problems. Because the
Okay.
thing is, I already know the services that I offer, right?
Mhm.
So I just pick problems that I know pair with my
Right.
solutions.
Yep.
And I have them pick the problems and it's like check all that apply type of thing. The strategies are great. Oh, awesome, Maddie, thank you. So before I would just have like this open text box, open like paragraph box, and just kind of have them just freely write in there. But then I was noticing I was getting a lot of vague answers because you got to remember they don't really know you. So to have them put their wall down in a form and they don't really know you, they're not too they're not too they won't be too quick to just let their whole guts out, right? So because I began to pick up on that, I start to list a lot of problems,
Hmm.
right? So, you know, I build systems. People feel all over the place. So I will put that down as a problem. Another one is, they are sick of having to check their text messages, their inbox, their DMs, their emails, and try to figure out all these different conversations to follow up with people or to send all these links to get booked on their calendar and stuff like that, right? So that would be a problem that I would
Hmm.
put down and they would check that. So now when we get on a call, tell me a little bit more when you say you feel all over the place. Talk to me a little bit more about that. And now they get to just tell me in real time,
So yeah, they
right?
can just vent right there.
Yep. So that's something else that I switched around on my discovery form that has panned out and carved off at
I
least
done dropped the
25 minutes.
headphone. Give me 1 second. Let me pick
Okay.
up this headphone.
Welcome, welcome. Hey there.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good. Yeah. Cause then once they get there, they start you can ask that question, they start venting, really rambling and but you get the information that you need
Mm-hmm.
because they let that wall down. So okay.
Yep. Yep. Good stuff. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking out your time. You down there in the A on some other
Yeah.
business, and I'm really, really excited. I'm grateful and I'm thankful that you took the opportunity out to kind of share some insights. Because this is really like I was telling people, if they just go back and watch all of these lives with a pen and paper, this is a whole class. Like it's the whole class, right? Like you're getting the inside scoop as to what it takes to keep traffic on, coming to your site, different strategies. So just to recap, right? So different strategies that six different people are using to get people on their calendar, the different language that we're saying when we realize that people are not a good fit. Some things that we noticed in terms of operations where we said, oh, red flag, I need to switch and add more time to my availability on my calendar or shrink the time down on my calendar and stuff like that. So, refunds and stuff like that and, difficult clients or, just making the decision saying, I'm not going to work with you. How we handle no shows, right? So, if people really go back and watch these, we're saving them hundreds of dollars from getting on a coaching call to get this stuff, figured out, right? So,
Yeah.
welcome, Ebony. Welcome. I think that's future official. I don't want to mess up nobody's name. Hey, y'all. So, listen, make sure the other series are going to be on our website, impacttoincrease.com. This one is going to be up on the website. If not tonight, it's going to be tomorrow. But you guys, go back and watch these replays before I take them down because it's a whole class. It's a whole class. If you want to learn how to get and stay booked and busy and still have time, like me, well, I mean, even though I'm doing this series at night, but my day shuts down at 4:30 and I can do that. Like I no longer have to be chained to my laptop for like 12 hours a day.
And if you follow me, y'all know I stay at a happy hour.
You know what I'm saying? So, the reason why I want to put this together because there are so many of us who have appointment based businesses and Our time is running us and we're not running our time. I tell people all the time, there's two things that we have to give assignments to. We have to give our money an assignment and we have to give our time an assignment. And it has to be in alignment with our overall goal for our business, right? So make sure y'all write that down. Give your money an assignment or your money will run off and do things without you. And you have to give your time an assignment because whether you like it or not, time is going to go on with you or without you. So you might as well give your time an assignment. And so that's why I wanted to have, conduct this Booked and Busy series so I can, kind of help and drop some nuggets and share some gems with people who I know that's doing it and doing it well. Shout out to LL Cool J. I'm dating myself here. I'm doing it and doing it and doing it
And
well.
doing it well.
Right? So I love you all. Be a blessing to others, and you too will be blessed. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to discontinue the IG live. Stay on for a second in the back end of the studio. Give me 1 second. Bye,
Okay.
y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Share to IGTV. Hold on, y'all. I'm almost there. Oh, I just picked a horrible cover. I'll go back and change it. Jesus, mouth wide open. Post. Okay, there we go. All right, Facebook family. All right, Facebook family. So thank y'all so much for hanging out and tuning in on my Impact Increase page. YouTubers, thank you all so much for hanging out and tuning in. I'll be in y'all inboxes. Don't worry about it. I'll be in y'all inboxes. But no, seriously, if you all have any questions in regards to issues or struggles that you're having with your business and, you want to have a conversation about it, you can, or I would say have a conversation about it. Or if you want to get more insight and more tips, I'm going to be holding a Get Booked and Busy masterclass on May 6th. So just text the word booked. So you can see it kind of going across the screen there. Text the word booked to 414-240-8557. I'm going to be having an in-depth, intensive, step-by-step walkthrough on the different things that you need to have in place so you too can get and stay booked and busy in your business. Until next time, Facebook and YouTube family, be a blessing to others, and you too will be blessed. Hold on, okay.